lovely day in the bubble. LeBron and the Lakers know that the job's not finished, but they sure looked good on Wednesday. He and AD combined for 59 points as the Lakers coasted to a Game 1 victory. The Lakers have won 11 of 16 previous finals. When they take Game 1, the Lakers and Heat will tip off Game 2 in an hour over on ABC. As we say hello and welcome to Access Sportsnet Lakers, brought to you by your Southern California Toyota dealers. I'm Allie Clifton, joined by the Hall of Famer, Big Game James Worthy, Tough Juice Caron Butler, Mike Trudell is here, Mike Bresnahan. Geeter will run point in the postgame. Tough Juice just a moment ago. We know how excited James is for his squad to be back in the finals, but you just let out the biggest roar. You love this as well.
Oh, I was excited. Like, I was screaming because I think about draft picks, lottery selections, all this adversity that we've been through over the years, and just to finally be on this platform, on this stage, calling the finals. This is a big deal. And
you showed up looking dapper as always. We're going to get to the shoe game later in the show, so be ready for that. Of course, James always looking
clean.
Let's get to it. The Lakers with a dominant win in Game 1 of the NBA Finals against the Heat. They trailed by as many as 13 in the first quarter, but then turned it up on the backs of AD and LeBron. The purple and gold led by 32 at one point in the third quarter. AD and LeBron combined for 59 points. Let's take that one step further, because you look at the numbers for the King and the Brow, and they're just dominant. LeBron 1 assist shy in season 17 of a triple-double in Game 1 of the NBA Finals. And then AD, impactful as always, 34, 9, 3 blocks, 5 dimes for the big fella. And guys, you expect big-time players to step up in big-time moments, and these two certainly did lead the charge. But I think the one thing I loved the most is after that Game 1, no matter how great it looked, specifically in that second and third quarters, they say the job is not done. Far from it.
Yeah. Take a note from Kobe Bryant's notebook. The job is not done. He said, I don't think so. And it isn't. And if anybody knows that better than anybody, is their leader, LeBron James, who's been in this scenario, this experience so many times. And so, yeah, it's not over until it's over. But they smell it. They smell it now. It's like you call home and you know your mom's cooking your best meal. You're trying to get to it. So I think, guys like AD, who's elevated to L.A., Caron, we talked about this before. Dwight Howard, who's never won, who has a immaculate career as far as being Defensive Player of the Year. So they're on track. The bench, the younger guys are starting to say, man, this is what it's like. It's on.
Yeah, it really is. And I love the fact that in the midst of that moment, Game 1, they had a run, and everyone was celebrating. Everybody was excited. LeBron said, pump the brakes. Don't get too animated over here. We have work to do. And looking forward, understanding that even though the Miami Heat is hobbled, with some of their star players being out, we're going to touch on that. You know what? They have a lot of fight in them still. So this, we're still 3 games and 3 wins away from getting to the ultimate goal.
I like, James, how you said AD specifically elevated to L.A., and we saw that there in his finals debut, which is so crazy to think that this is his first NBA Finals. But he's put up numbers that we last saw with the great Elgin Baylor.
That's crazy.
Of course, his numbers only behind that of Shaq and George Mikan. How impressive was that when you think about it in perspective? Caron, Game 1, first time in the NBA Finals, the lights did not seem bright at all for him. Too bright.
It really didn't, and that big game nailed it when he talked about elevating this game to L.A. standards, because it's a type of pedigree that you have to play with and have when you come here to Los Angeles, and he's living up to all expectations. When you talk about the stage and the lights being brighter and bigger, he's done just that. This production from, series to series have just continued to amplify. And I like the fact that he's just embracing it all, and he understands the magnitude of the moment. He's present in the moment, and he's doing a remarkable job at being one of the young faces of this game and one of the future leaders of this organization.
Not that we need to see or hear a lot more from Anthony Davis at this point of his career. We know what he can do. But you like to see him put back-to-back, especially on this stage, dominant games together.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what it's all about when you think of the players that you had up on the graphic there. They all dominated. Shaq, Kareem, they were MVPs. They were defensive, dominant. So, yeah, he's definitely at a stage now where you know, he can create those type of games, and that's what it needs to happen. Not only, you know, back-to-back games, but multiple championships, back-to-back championships, and things of that nature. So it's almost like it's not the start for him, but it's the start of his elitist play and where he can take a franchise like the Lakers. I mean, we're going for number 17 right now.
I think he's thinking more legacy now. LeBron's been all about legacy from the beginning of time. He came into the association with these high expectations and just bust through the ceiling and surpass all of those expectations. And I think that now being, you know, ushered into this space by King James, I think that AD is thinking just like that as well. Legacy, championships, chasing ghosts. Every time he does something on this large stage, he's being mentioned with some of the all-time greats. I mean, just the game series before, he was in some company with Big Game. You know, that speaks volumes to what you're doing from a production standpoint.
Speaking of Big Game, do you remember how many points you scored in your NBA Finals debut, Game 1?
Hell yeah. Oh, my NBA Finals debut?
Debut, Game 1.
Not Game 1. I don't remember
that. The man name is Big Game
for a
James.
reason.
Yeah, I don't remember. It was against...
Eater's saying 17. He's in the house.
Was it 19?
He's a little low. You're a little low.
20. It was higher than that?
In between. 20.
I was balling.
20. 20 points for Big Game.
Balling, Gator.
Stay ready.
Stay ready. Never have to get ready. All right, we got some injury updates to get your way. The Heat had a rough Game 1, as we know. It came down with a lot of injuries, and here's the latest on who is in and who is out. Most notably, Goran Dragic with that plantar fasciitis tear in his left foot. He's out. Bam Bam, he is out for Game 2 with the neck strain. Jimmy, guys, is a bit hobbled, had that ankle injury, but he is a go. He will play. But I think this is the bigger storyline is you see these two guys who have been so instrumental for the Heat to get to this point that they are in right now. They're out. You don't want to let down.
No, and LeBron said it best in the last game. He said for most of the game, you know, quarters 1, 2, and 3, you know, we did what we wanted to do. He said it's how we finished that was extremely disappointing to him. And he said we can't allow that to happen. So having said that and knowing, you know, his experience, and, you know, coaches are very aware, too. You know, a wounded cat is a dangerous one. It's a wounded animal. So they got to come out and remember what their mission is. They've been in the bubble this long. They got 3 more games to win. And that's what they have to have their mindset.
Look, I'm just trying to figure out from an offensive standpoint, where would the production come from the Miami Heat? When you think about the pick and roll philosophy and Bam and Gordon, you know, being in it, they've been the driving force for this ball club throughout the regular season and while entering the bubble throughout the playoffs. So without them being out there, Jimmy is going to have to go for astronomical numbers, and the others, I mean, you're going to have throwback performances pretty much from everybody.
How about this? Quote Jimmy Butler. Short-handed, backs against the walls, yada, yada, yada. We're going to win Game 2. That's what he said.
It's a good thing to say.
Let's get you live to the Lakers reporter, Mike Trudell, who joins us from down the hall, getting you ready for Game 2. Hello, Michael.
Hey, guys, what's happening? You know, all that talk about the Showtime Lakers made me think of something. So 3 number 1 picks right now in the Lakers starting lineup. Of course, Dwight, AD, and LeBron. Just a little bit of talent there. Well, the Showtime Lakers not only had 3 starters, you had that guy over there, Big Game, Kareem, and Magic. Then they had Michael Thompson, another number 1 pick coming off the bench. Now, I don't know of another team that has had more than 2, and it just kind of goes to show you, right? A little bit of talent has been up and down this city over the years for the Purple and Gold. Now, speaking of Dwight Howard, a little bit interesting to see how the matchups are going to go tonight. Is Miami going to start the type of stretch big that has given the Lakers just a little bit of problems, although they've dealt with that pretty well overall this season? It could be with Bam out. It could be Kelly Olynyk. It could be Myers Leonard. I wanted to put that to Frank Vogel and just see what were some of the keys with how the Lakers play against such lineups throughout the season.
Definitely presents a different challenge than Bam would with his rolls and drives to the basket. But we have coverages in place with our big lineups. You know, we just have to make sure we execute them. But they are challenging, different type of challenge. And, you know, we always have the option to go small if we needed to.
And then, Frank, wanted to ask you about Davis defensively. There was a play in the first half where Dragic drove in, and he was able to both kind of take away the lob and entry pass and then still block the shot. Just wondered if you've seen him evolve as the season has gone on compared to where he was at the beginning of the season defensively and how that's impacted things.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, obviously the talent has always been there. That was a coverage play, a read.
Wednesday's game one win, they became only the third Lakers duo to each score 25 points in a playoff game. They've done it 9 times. So what makes it so easy for them to play together? LeBron spoke about it at yesterday's media day.
We're not jealous of each other. I think that's the best thing. In professional sports, you have guys that join forces to, call them alpha males. That's what they call them. Two guys that's been dominated in a specific sport on their own respective teams. And they get together and they talk about, okay, how dominant they can be. And they talk about this is going to be this and that. I believe jealousy creeps in a lot. And that is the absolute contrary of what we are. We know who we are. We know what we're about. And we want the best. Seriously, every single day, both on and off the floor for one another. We're not jealous of one another. And I think that you'll line that with respect. I think the sky's the limit.
I think when you got two guys who are very selfless and want to win, as bad as both of us want to, the rest of it, goes away.
we've wanted to embody what he stood for and represent his memory all throughout the year. We want to do that more so now than ever.
More so now than ever. There is no one that rocks kicks the way that this guy does. Tough shoes, always rocking some fire kicks. And what do you got on today?
Kobe undefeated. Speaking of undefeated, we're already 3-0 in
Picking up.
the Mamba jerseys. How we represent.
So
But you know
crisp.
what, though, man? The shoes are so dope, man.
So dope.
But my man John Weatherspoon would be so proud because you are coordinated all the way. Look at the socks. Now I'm digging the socks that's matching the shoes and the suit. But the Kobe, man, he's with us.
Stay with us.
No doubt. Of course, we got the studio lit. Like I said last time, it looks like a ray of sunshine in here, courtesy of Video Ops Alonzo. Got the studio looking good. But guys, say what you want about the jerseys. They're special, and as we know, they've brought some magical moments. You think about the first time they wore them, in that first half against Portland, they put up 80 points. By the way, that was on H24. You had the incredible shooting percentages. The second time they wore them against the Rockets, and then the third time against Denver, AD hits the game winner, and then of course shouts Kobe. So we know how much, of course, Kobe meant this franchise and beyond. But I think what's so special too as well is this team does, and they carry it with them every step of the way.
Absolutely. And left their print, their
feels like you've been in the bubble forever. How many days officially?
I haven't counted all the days. It's between 85 and 90 right now, I'm pretty sure. So
The Lakers are wearing their black Mamba jersey.
Mamba mentality, that's what they need today.
Black with gold lettering, pay tribute to both Kobe and Gianna Bryant.
LeBron James all the way with the reverse. It's a block party out there. Los Angeles just making it look easy, getting everything they want right now. Up 22. Kuzma fakes, drives, and flushes. Caruso throws it up. Hammer time for LeBron James. Oh, up top. Rondo finding Howard.
Rondo brings in Anthony Davis. 3 for the win. He got it. No time on the clock. It's over. Anthony Davis hits a 3. The Lakers win it. And the Lakers break the heart of the Denver Nuggets.
The Black Mamba jerseys, to no one's surprise, have been a good luck charm for the Lakers. They are 3-0 when wearing them this postseason, averaging 119 points a game, and they're shooting over 40% from 3 and 53% overall. Yesterday, Lakers head coach Frank Vogel was asked about honoring Kobe.
Well, that's what you think about when you think about Kobe Bryant. I mean, obviously, you know, he makes big shots throughout every regular season and whatnot, but, you know, you think about Kobe Bryant, you think about championships. And you think about the NBA Finals and all the big moments that he had in the Finals. So while we wanted to embody what he stood for and represent his memory all throughout the year, we want to do that more so now than ever.
What?
More so now than ever. There is no one that rocks kicks the way that this guy does. Tough Juice, always rocking some fire kicks. And what do you got on today?
The Kobe undefeateds. Speaking of undefeated, we already 3-0 in
Speaking of.
the Mamba jerseys. That's all we represent.
So
But you know what, though, man? The shoes are so dope, man.
So dope.
But my man John Weatherspoon would be so proud because you are coordinated all the way. Look at the socks now. I'm digging the socks that's matching the shoes and the suit. But the Kobe's, man, he's with us.
Stay with us.
No doubt. Of course, we got the studio lit. Like I said last time, it looks like a ray of sunshine in here, courtesy of Video Ops Alonzo. Got the studio looking good. But guys, say what you want about the jerseys. They're special. And as we know, they've brought some magical moments. You think about the first time they wore them. In that first half against Portland, they put up 80 points. By the way, that was on 8-24. You had the incredible shooting percentages the second time they wore them against the Rockets. And then the third time against Denver, AD hits the game winner and then, of course, shouts Kobe. So we know how much, of course, Kobe meant to this franchise and beyond. But I think what's so special, too, as well, is this team does, and they carry it with them every step of the way.
Absolutely. I mean, this franchise has had, you know, players that have come in and left their, you know, their print, their name, you know, Jerry West, Elgin Baylor, you know, Wilt, Kareem, Magic, Shaquille. But no one, in my opinion, has left their footprint the way Kobe has. And that's why we're talking about him right now. We mentioned the greats. We mentioned Shaq. We mentioned Mike and all those. But, you know, the black jersey, you know, for what he was able to do and how he was able to elevate the city. Game-winning shots after game-winning shots. And his attitude toward life. And what he was going to do, and what he did do after he retired, and what he was going to do, it speaks volumes. And that's why, like no other Laker, we talk about the Mamba.
I think you always just think of, you know, whenever you thinking about basketball, sports, walk of life, whatever you're doing, you just think about being better and possessing that Mamba mentality. I felt like he poured that into the world so much that everyone identified with it. They recognized what their niche in life was, and they just try to go back to that and apply that to whatever they're doing. You know what I mean? Whether it's, you know, calling games, whether it's preparing for games, whether it's being active in your communities. And it's the ultimate legacy. And I love that it's just living on and people are just thriving in that space with that Mamba mentality.
He and his beautiful daughter, Gianna. Gone way too soon, but never, of course, forgotten. We're about 30 minutes away from Game 2 of the finals. Dwight Howard has started the last 3 playoff games. He's averaging nearly 8 points and 9 boards, plus a lot of high percentage shots, 80% from the field as a starter.